So you know how Spotify gives you those wrapped playlists every year? The ones that summarize you as a listener? Well, I realized something. Spotify doesn't keep your numbers after that year. Your minutes, stats, and insights are all gone. But those top 100 songs? Those stay in your library. Every year, in fact. So then it hit me. If they don't disappear, I can still rebuild my listening habits. That is, I can still engineer a way to measure my behavior even without the minutes played. And so, I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and downloaded 7 years of my Spotify Wrapped and started analyzing everything. Hi, I'm Angelo. I love math, I love stats, and honestly, I'm a bit of a data nerd. But what I want to showcase for you today is my Spotify lifetime analysis. In summary, Spotify drops a Wrapped playlist every December, which is a collection of your top 100 songs of the year. As someone who loves data, I couldn't resist and not analyzing my listening habits to date. As an example, here is my most recent Wrapped playlist from 2024, with Heavy as the Crown as my most played in the year. Gosh, it's a hype song. Please, check it out. So, here's what I did. First, I downloaded all the metadata from each playlist, deciding what information was relevant to me. Song information, the year of the Wrapped playlist itself, and many other features were collected through this process. It just so happens to be that there are 24 columns of data for each song, and so I went ahead and removed unnecessary ones like key and time signature. This is what I had to work with. Next, I went ahead and cleaned the messy entries, making sure that data was consistent and nothing was missing. Did you know that from these 700 songs, 189 of them didn't even have a genre? So I filled those in by manually looking through each one and reinserted them back into the dataset. Also, I must address something. Spotify genres get really specific, like dream pop, neo-psychedelic, and whatever slap house is. So I grouped them into several broader categories to make my analysis cleaner and easier to visualize. Some examples include combining rock and alternative, merging R&B and soul, and slotting K-pop and indie pop into the broader pop category. You could observe the full groupings here. I then scored each song based on its position in the playlist. This is the basis behind how I'm going to analyze all these songs. Since Spotify already ranks your top 100, I just have to convert it into a scoring system. The top song gets a score of 100, and the score goes down by 1 as you descend deeper into the playlist. So, going back to my earlier example, Heavy as the Crown would score 100, and the songs underneath would have 99, 98, and so on. From this, we'll see that if a song appears in multiple years, the points add up. So, the higher the score, the higher its lifetime relevance. Then, I visualized the data on Tableau to tell me what exactly happened over the past couple of years, but I'll get into my findings shortly. So, before I really dove deep into the data, I just wrote down some assumptions. Linkin Park, as my favorite artist, would straight up destroy every other artist in nearly every metric. Rock and metal songs would dominate my song charts. I believe that songs from the 90s and 2000s will show up more often than others because of their nostalgia. And lastly, my music taste is consistent. I mean, I love rock music, but I shouldn't see any changes, right? After calculating the scores in both Python and Tableau, I would like to present my top 10 songs of all time. What should jump out to you is how much higher my top 3 songs scored compared to the rest. Somewhere I Belong is the only Linkin Park song in my top 10. Smashing Pumpkins have 3 songs in the top 10. And the only non-rock songs to make it here are Psycho, Sunflower, and The Less I Know The Better. Next, I have my top 10 artists of all time. And no, this one was not even close. Linkin Park completely obliterates everybody. In fact, the second artist, the Smashing Pumpkins, would need to nearly triple its score just to catch up. You know what surprised me though? 2 newer artists, Joey Valence and Bray and Doobie, both made it into my lifetime top 10 in just a few years. And yes, for those of you who don't know, that is how you pronounce Doobie. Now, when we look into my top albums, Linkin Park's Meteora just dominates on this front. I mean, we have 2 iterations of the same album, and they both ended up in the top 10. Man, I really love this band. You might see that Spotify Singles is listed with multiple artists, but that's because those live covers are grouped as one. Each artist featured here did a cover, articulating their style into another artist's song. It's amazing. Together, they made a score of 524. And the newest album here? Yeah, that goes to Punk Tactics by Joey Valence and Bray, making the list despite releasing in 2023, which is cool. Now let's switch gears for a bit and look at how different genres scored across the years. Each line in this graph marks a genre's trajectory throughout the years, with higher peaks indicating a higher relevance to me. But I wanted to look more into my rock and metal assumptions, so let's clear it all here. Here is how rock did in my lifetime. This is how metal did. So what you're looking at is a drop-off for both genres. They started very strong in 2018, but dropped in 2020, and then hit their lowest point in 2022? What happened? Here's the real twist, ladies and gents. Take a look at what happens when I isolate for pop music. Alright, now take a look at what happens when I add rap music. There's this zigzag effect happening. I mean, when I initially looked into this, I was confused. I mean, why did both genres rise and fall every year? In an effort to get some answers, I decided to compare both of these genres against rock and metal, and oh man did we get some answers. When metal and rock dropped in 2020, rap and pop shot up in the rankings. We see the exact opposite happen in 2021 when rock climbed, where both rap and pop dropped. And this effect continues on to this day, so it's like a tug of war between both rock and metal and the non-rock hard hitters. The data suggests that my listening is oddly consistent, especially when it comes to this year-to-year trend. Now let's take a break from my ranking scores. In this whole process, I got curious and decided to visualize the number of songs per genre. In Rap 2018, almost everything I listened to was rock or metal. In fact, only 2 other genres were able to make the cut. But by Rap 2020, our pie chart becomes a rainbow. So many new genres appear, and for the first time, rock was actually outnumbered by both pop and rap, just like what we saw earlier. By last year, rock and metal retained over half of the playlist, but pop stayed strong, with a staggering 27 songs out of the 100. So, my curiosity just kept going. In Tableau, I created a calculated field called Decades, where I went ahead and aggregated their release dates into specific bins for analysis. So let's go back to our ranking score and analyze nostalgia by looking at the decades. So here are all of them put together, but let's first take a look back on my assumptions. Let's take a look at 90s music. Okay, not too shabby. So how about the 2000s? About the same. Looks like I listened to more 2000s music in general, but the real kicker is when I add the 2010s. And whoa, that is a huge leap to say the least. When we look at the years on the bottom, I listen to more 2010s music in the 2010s. Okay, I mean, it's a no-brainer there, but I'm not the nostalgic listener I claim to be. Am I a fraud? Let's add the 2020s in. And boom. The 2020s take over and never let go. This indicates that I objectively like listening to present music over older ones. So that nostalgia I thought I had for older music, apparently not enough to dethrone the newer songs. So, here's the summary of my listening across 7 years. I built all of this in Tableau with interactive visuals, filters, score calculations, and the dashboard just pulls it all together. So what did we learn? Linkin Park broke ahead, but it seems to be because of their ability to stay relevant through new releases. Rock started out strong, but dropped, and while it seems to be returning, it won't be in the capacity it once had on me. Nostalgia never got the best of me, as 90s and 2000s music never stole the spotlight. And once 2020 hit, my music taste changed to accommodate for new, fresh songs. And that's all on the general breakdown of my listening. I went ahead and also delved deeper into specific niches of my music taste, but that is for another day. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.